And the pot calls the kettle black, calls the kettle burnt, calls her mad. Kettle reminds the pot that we've both been burned on the same stove, that the parts of our bodies that are layered in soot were scorched by the same hands. Kettle tells pot that she still boils water, holds the hot breath of a white man's tongue, endures the slow simmer of a white woman's allyship, and still, we make something beautiful. Pot calls the kettle wicked, and kettle says no, but says she's so magical she burned the hand of the last man who tried to pour himself a piece of her. Says she's so black she is everything, so black she is the beginning. She is the first thing someone finds home in when they wake up in the morning. Says ain't that what it means to be black? To have the world go up in flames around you and still be sanctuary for someone, saving men who lost themselves the night before, saving men who curse our names but forget his mama is made of steel too. And now the pot has no words, but calls the kettle bitter, but loves the glass pan, the fine china, loves all the exotic shit white men put behind glass casings, loves how fragile things not made of steel can be. But this isn't about the pot or the pan. This is about the kettle, the black woman, how she pours herself across the earth, but no one bats an eye when the water disappears. We give ourselves to men who never love us, but they say we are difficult, too hard to break. How we, the kettle, praise this pot, this man for all the water he holds. How we are the only ones who do not call him monster when the water boils over, because we know this heat, this white flame, hot enough to make any of us explode. We are the first ones to make noise when the world goes up in flames, but they say the earth was saved by the man who heard her scream. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says yes, but says you best remember you black too. The next time they bring a fire to your neck, they burn black bodies on the stake and the stove. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says bitch I might be, says nuck if you buck, then says wipe me down. Kettle says yes my nigga, I be black, I be mad, and I boiled the last man down to his bones when he tried to test me. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says hell yes, but don't say my name as if you ain't ever been burnt too.
Pathological lying. It's not considered a mental disorder. Instead, it's observed as a behavioral disturbance that's present inside of other disorders like antisocial personality disorder and some brain disorders like Korsakoff syndrome, which is brain damage from alcohol. Pathological lying used to be called pseudologia fantastica. I like saying that. And it referred to people who told multiple outrageous lies that would border on the fantastic. And those were more than just simple lies. These would include elaborate details that seem questionably believable. And when you challenge the person on the details, they tell even more lies to make the story work. The motive behind the lying wasn't always clear, and sometimes it was just to impress people. Some people start to believe their lies and have trouble even knowing what the truth is. Believe it or not, for some people, it can become like ordinary talk, and they don't even see themselves as spinning a lot of lies. They just see it as talking, like storytelling. And what's wrong with storytelling?
From the moment the tribe leaders brokered with white slave merchants for handkerchiefs, rum, and guns, the male captives of tribal warmongers enjoyed the spoils of war, did not, nor did they ever feel the need to protect all Black women. Y'all, it was never a thing. It was never a thing. From Bell Hooks' book, authored in 1981, titled Ain't Aya woman, she lays bare the dynamic that we still feel the effects of from today. This is not unusual for Black men to sit silently while Black women are being violated. The assumption that Black male slaves, this goes way back to slavery, felt the need to protect all Black women, according to Bell Hooks, is historically inaccurate. This is a quote
All right, 1 second, 1 second. How's everybody doing tonight? Is everybody cool? Put a 1 in the chat if you're doing good, ready for the weekend, like you should. So anyway, 1 second while we wait for Cyber to get ready. He'll be right back. All right. Meanwhile, let me roll this. Here we go. Wait.
From the moment the tried leaders brokered with white slave merchants for handkerchiefs, rum, and guns, the male captives of
All right, shout out Miss RV, Quita, ain't hard out here for a pimp. You know, we got everybody up in here. Act Natural Under Pressure's in here. Prism's here. Cyber's here. This party's about to get started. We're about to do this. Bridget's in here. We have Bridget up in here. Camo's up in here. Benji's up in here. Everybody's up in here. We're going to get this party started real soon. Let's keep it going.
Of tribal warmongers enjoyed the spoils of war, did not, nor did they ever feel the need to protect all Black women. Y'all, it was never a thing. It was never a thing. From Bell Hooks' book, authored in 1981, titled Ain't I a Woman, she lays bare the dynamic that we still feel the effects of from today. This is not unusual for Black men to sit silently while Black women are being violated. The assumption that Black male slaves, this goes way back to slavery, felt the need to protect all Black women, according to Bell Hooks, is historically inaccurate. This is a quote from her book. I recommend you get it.
So the girl math trend was wholesome and harmless, talking about handbags and shoes, shopping, just really having fun, just us ladies chatting away. But as always, men started chiming in with their unsolicited opinions. And why they do that? Because boy math, those ladies are dragging those men. And I'm going to share some of my favorite tweets with y'all right now. Boy math is when you want to break up, but instead of just breaking up, you start being insufferable and hope she breaks up with you. Boy math is thinking marriage has more serious consequences than having a child with someone. Boy math is wanting a traditional woman who pays bills. Men really compare their lives and experiences with dating to millionaires, all while having no millions. Boy math. Boy math is giving your baby mom $107 a month in child support and thinking it funded her trip to Aruba. And don't forget this little nugget right here. Boy math is raising 3 bulls instead of one child.
The devil is a lie, Torch. StreamYard just kicked me out, man.
Man. Microphone check 1, 2.
Man, how it sound, man? StreamYard.
Yeah, you blasting. You sound good.
Damn.
Everybody, microphone check 1, 2. How we sound out there, everybody? Up or down? Should we raise the volume or lower the volume? Let us know which one we need to work with the volume. You know how we do it.
Man. Let me go to my first little video. You know what? Today today's topic is. Let me present.
Okay, the online privacy one.
Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second.
Everybody, welcome Cyber Dreams to the house. Type Cyber Dreams in the chat.
Okay, Torch, I'm gonna hit play. You see that?
No, I don't see it. You're not on. Your side's not on screen. I got mine on screen right now, but not yours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead and present. Cyber Dreams in the house. There we go. I see you. I'm gonna bring mine down now. Wait, no, it disappeared. What happened to it?
Oh, y'all killing me here. let me do this one more time.
Take your time. We're about to have some fun. It's a Friday night. You know what I mean?
Ain't hard for a pimp. How you doing? How you doing?
You know,
man, StreamYard. I had it all smooth. Man, StreamYard something else.
Hey, you mean they should change it to Struggle StreamYard, right?
Seriously, man. I was like, oh, I was so confident.
There you go. Take your time. Everything. That's what a live stream for, you know? Worst case scenario, I can run your videos on this side. You can just tell me when to stop and start.
Okay, I'm about to play it right now.
Okay. I
see that?
I see it's not quite there yet. It's trying to show. Okay, so I'm gonna bring down mine.
See, come on, man.
You got the strength.
I think because you're presenting as well, right?
Huh? There we go. Okay.
Okay, there we go. All right. Okay. We sorry for the delay, people. Please forgive us. Please.
What do you mean? What delay? What delay? We're up in here. We're up in here.
I got a little brief monologue for you, ladies and gentlemen, and the haters and the cloud watchers. You know, we are all aware of the dangers of the environment that poses to Black women and children, right? These dangers are continuing, a battle that we are combating with our messaging, me, Torch, everyone that comes on the stage, and our forwarding of information. But today we're going to talk about something that people may not take as serious, but it's a big deal. Cyber harassment, cyberbullying, cyber stalking. These three are interchangeable. And let's not be fooled. Let's not have them be mistaken that the people who participate in these things, they will do all three. Now, from my arrival to this space, I've been privy to see these activities firsthand. What is it about this space that allows this stuff, right? What is it about YouTube? The people who participate in these things wholeheartedly believe that they're doing nothing wrong, without any regard to their victims, no regard for empathy towards their victims. What is the benefits of these activities that they participate in? So my belief is that it's just simply sociopathic. See, the internet has bred people into an alternative lifestyle, and subsequently an alternative personality. Without the internet, these people would be non-factors, non-relevant. They don't have any belief in meaningful relationships. Like they don't have. I'll say this. I assume that they don't have good relationships with people outside of YouTube or the internet. And I came to the conclusion that they're using YouTube as a Sims game. Everybody know about the Sims game and whatnot. And then we got the new stuff called the metaverse. It's all a game to these people. But their activities reflect more on them than their victims. And also on YouTube. They're so-called exposing people that they know nothing about, never met, never even ate dinner with. So that was my brief monologue. And we finna play this guy.
If someone's stalking you through technology, here's what to do. It's called cyber stalking, and it's a serious crime. Follow these steps as someone uses electronic communication to repeatedly intimidate or threaten you, your family and friends, or your pets. 1. Ask them to stop. Even if you allowed it before, once you no longer consent, they need to respect that. 2. If they don't, save all the evidence and make copies. 3. Then file a report with us. 4. If they harass you through a specific platform or app, report them to that service. 5. Finally, contact a lawyer to help you file a restraining order, because everyone deserves to feel safe on and offline.
You guys heard that? Now, we do ask people to stop and whatnot. Do they do it? And now this guy I found, he's very interesting in what he came about, but we're gonna skip this. Man,
we rely on the internet a lot, and we need cyber.
Start your.
So I want to start this video by saying that we're all humans and that we all make mistakes. My mistake as a YouTuber personality was making a video in which I said that VPNs aren't a silver bullet for protecting your privacy and security online. And as a result, even though this video is almost 2 years old at this point, that note, let's start with my first tip, and that is do not reuse passwords. It's a pretty basic and obvious tip that I think everyone is aware of, but please take it seriously and do not ever use the same password for 2 or multiple services. That is especially relevant with small websites or just forums that you register on just to download one file or something to that effect, because those websites are very likely to get hacked at some point. Especially with those small websites and forums, what can often happen is that their website gets compromised on some level and the database with all the users gets leaked. And if they're storing your password in plain text, which is, you're not supposed to do that, but some people do that anyway, your password will basically now be available to any 13-year-old Google stuff like password database 2021. Trust me, you don't want to take that risk, so please use a password manager and change the password everywhere, especially if you're like me, if you grew up with internet. But trust me, it's definitely worth it. You just don't want to take this risk. As to which
seems like it's a lot of became a victim of cyber harassment. This is a very serious issue on the YouTube streets.
Like
this is a very sensitive information that you don't want to put in the cloud. You want to have full control of it, so that means either having it on your local machine or having it on a self-hosted home server, but that's a little bit more advanced. So if you want to go the simple route, I would recommend KeePass. KeePass is basically an open source standard for password databases. You can store them locally. There's a lot of good and open source clients on basically every operating system imaginable. So Windows, Linux, Mac OS, Android,
Wait, you guys
iOS,
can't hear the video?
However, if you have multiple devices, which
put a 2 in the chat if you can't hear
back and forth. So if you have something like a home instance, Bitwarden is an open source password manager, and you can be storing your password database in the cloud, have some degree of control over that. The next
Put a 2 in the chat if you can't hear the video. Because I'm gonna let it play too. Yeah, I'm paused it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Emails. The reason is basically if you use one email address to log in everywhere, you'll be very easy to identify. For example, let's say you use one email to log into like school like online platform and the same email to log into, I don't know, My Little Pony forum or something. And if your classmates Google your email address, they will most likely find your account on that My Little Pony forum. And that would make for some embarrassing conversations in the Zoom breakout sessions, I guess. It's a pretty stupid example, I agree, but I think you can imagine what can happen and what someone can do if they have your email address and you use this email address for basically everything online. So don't do that. If you have an Apple account, a lot of services now support logging in with Apple. And there basically Apple gives you an option of hiding your real email address and replacing it with an anonymous randomly generated email. So you can use that. Alternatively, if you're not a fan of Apple ecosystem, there is a service called mailbox.org. This is what I basically use for my personal email. There you have an option of creating 25 aliases for all of your different email and account needs. And they also provide an option of throwaway accounts. So if you need to sign up for a giveaway or something similar, but you just want to have a possibility of just clicking on X and deleting this throwaway email address and not receiving anything on it ever again. It's not free though. The tier that I'm using costs €3, but I think it's worth it considering the functionality that I just mentioned. So yeah. And then sometimes you just need to enter an email once and you never want to be contacted by a company ever again. For that, I'm using a service called tempmail.org. This service basically gives you a random email address which you can use to receive one or maybe a few emails, and then just close the tab and poof, it's gone. There is no identifying information. You don't have to supply your personal email, so that's something I use a lot for those shady services that I don't want to, give my actual email address to. My next tip is clean up your older accounts. Sometimes people don't realize how much personally identifiable and sensitive information one can find about someone after just typing their nickname into Google. If you're curious, just do it yourself. Type your nickname into Google, and you'll probably see a lot of stuff from your teens, accounts on gaming websites, forums and stuff, and so on and so forth. So my recommendation is go on Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever, type your nickname or your full name and see if there are any accounts, any traces that you left online that you don't want to be there anymore. Sometimes that's obviously out of your control. Sometimes, there are schools that post athletic records online, or maybe other companies would post stuff about you online that you can't delete or modify. But for everything else that you can control, just make sure you go over all the accounts, all of your old stuff, and just clean up stuff that you don't want other people to find. You might be very tempted to use a service like unroll.me, which basically goes through your email inbox and sees if there are any services, websites, or newsletters that you can unsubscribe you from. But I would advise against those services because you practically give them full ID because you don't know what they're going to do with your messages. Those accounts
Information with your real name.
A lot of websites,
Please,
and you can use it to look up.
ladies and
You don't
gentlemen,
want people to find them nickname whenever you can.
Please
As we all know, the best way.
We got some creeps out here in these YouTube streets.
Way to clean up is don't make a mess in the first place. So if you don't want to have to do the same thing with Googling your nickname and deleting all the embarrassing accounts 5 years from now, you should use a random nickname every time you can. Your nickname can obviously identify you and help the attacker find more information about it. So you should definitely avoid using one nickname for every service online. You can use XKCD password generator. This will basically help you create a random rememberable string of letters that you can use as your nickname. And then if you have trouble remembering all of your random nicknames, you can use Password Manager to put them all in. Very convenient. My next tip is don't give away your real phone number. Your phone number is something that you don't change very often because it's a pain in the butt, and you usually keep a phone number for years on end. And because of that, a phone number can easily be used to identify you. In some countries, there are illegal services that basically give anyone access to a database which matches phone numbers with full names and addresses. So be sure you don't give your phone number just like that online. Instead, I would recommend using a virtual number service like this one. This is onlinesim.ru. Yes, it's a Russian one, but it does have an English version. The costs on this particular website are super low. You can basically get a number for as little as 5 cents. You can also pay with crypto, so Bitcoin, Ethereum, or anything like that. But those numbers are basically one-time use. You can use them to verify your Telegram account or your Discord account, but it's not going to work for something like WhatsApp or Signal, where you need to have the constant access to the number. So, in case you change your phone or lose it, you can re-register the account on the new phone. Also, if you're using a virtual number for Telegram, make sure to set a number password so that you won't basically give full access to all the messages to anyone who tries to register with the same number. As an alternative to apps that you need number with often, for example, WhatsApp or Signal, there's a company called Hushed, and they offer a lifetime access to a virtual phone number for as little as, I think, $40. You can only pay with credit card though, and you have to put your real name. And then also, if you don't use this number for a while, they will deactivate it, which sucks. It's not actually lifetime. And while we're on the topic of phone numbers, do not use SMS for two-factor authentication. First, because it will require you to give your phone number, duh. And second, because SMS messages travel unencrypted and can be intercepted by police or a bad actor. And then third, in some countries, the bad actor can pretend to be
They can
you,
pretend to
call
be
the cell provider, and
pretend
basically
to be you. Make a whole different account and start talking shit in the YouTube streets
for the same number. It is pretty illegal, but not uncommon. Instead, you should use a two-factor authentication app on your phone, such as Aegis, NOTP, OTP Auth, or anything similar. All of these apps basically use the same protocol, so you can use them on any website that supports two-factor authentication per app. So for example, Twitter, Google, Discord, PayPal, GitHub, and so on. Adding a new service to the application is also very easy. You just scan a QR code and voila, you're done. Make sure you save the backup code somewhere safe though, because if you lose your phone,
now,
you're fudged.
This
Also,
video
make
is
sure you
15
protect
minutes.
the
We want to
phone
move
and
on. I suggest you guys, if you are concerned about your safety in cyber harassment, please go and check out this video on your personal time. It was very informative. So we finna talk about the dark side of cyber stalking.
Attention retirees, if you're willing to be at your computer from 9 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. on most weekdays,
in 2019, nearly 1 million U.S. residents aged 16 and older were victims of cyberstalking. And these are only the known cases. How many victims stayed silent? With the rise of the internet, stalking someone has become easier than ever. Today, let's look at cyberstalking and how we can deal with someone threatening our online privacy. The colossal numbers speak for themselves. Digital abuse, cyberstalking is everywhere, and not just in the dark corners of the net. Just this year, after a very public divorce, Kim Kardashian was subjected to a barrage of cyberstalking when her unhinged ex, Kanye West, allegedly used his fame and resources to track and cyberstalk his former wife. So the more time people spend online, the more they expose themselves to danger. And when it comes to cyberstalking on social media and the internet, the more we share, the bigger the target we become. Cyberstalking is a broad term and can include small things like liking all your old photos on Facebook, like someone installing stalk.
Please do not share any personal information about yourselves online, especially if you're on panels.
To wear on your phone to follow you. It's something that our society has recognized as a serious threat and that's inspired conversations and cyberstalking prevention advice from experts. Let's dive into the world of scary stalker stories to learn a bit more about how they can unfold. In many Reddit horror stories about cybercrime, the perpetrator starts as a friend.
That person can also be a YouTube associate of any kind.
to Reddit user Polar Barrel, that's exactly how the Dungeons and Dragons stalking case began. While a group of friends were playing D&D on Discord, one among them was constantly trying to push the game his own way.
He was very much attempting to push himself to become much more of a permanent member in the game, even though we had made it clear multiple times that we did not have enough room for an extra person on the regular.
And this friction between D&D players soon escalated to a much bigger problem.
This ongoing behavior of his started to become much more prevalent, and it started to bleed into other aspects of how we would interact with each other socially, not just with D&D, to the point that he was basically sexually harassing one of my friends.
Initially, the group of D&D players tried to let the stalker know that this sort of behavior would not be tolerated. They set clear boundaries, saying that they would contact him only if and when they decided to. Keatron Evans, an expert we consulted about this, said,
"Yeah, it is cyber stalking, and it's pretty typical. When you see people online in this regard, they are very different people than when they're in person, right? Like suddenly people have all this courage. People will say things online that they would never say in person. They have a whole different attitude. And with the people that have the technical savvy, they can be some pretty intimidating stalkers and pretty intimidating cyber stalkers. A lot of them would never, intimidate someone or even have any type of friction with someone if it were in person, but suddenly behind the keyboard were the bullies.
Evans believed that the D&D players did the right. That wasn't the end of his harassment.
Within a day, he began to send us long, massive messages. It ranged from everything from him apologizing to him blaming us for what he did, and in other cases that our friend should be.
In this game of stalker and victims, the group decided to block the perpetrator on all social media accounts. However, any peace and quiet they may have enjoyed only lasted a moment. Soon, Polar Barrel and friends learned that this toxic person had created new accounts and was still cyber stalking. At one point, the stalker even tried to contact the group.
Familiar to me.
It was a lot of anxiety. It was we're putting out on the internet.
For private, essentially removing their presence on the internet because of one stalker. Polar Barrel said it was a circle of close friends who he talked to almost daily. But
what do we gather from listening on the YouTube streets? This is very serious. I don't know what to tell you. Please, I urge you to protect yourself, protect your family, protect your image. Now, we're going to talk about, this video is about what they want.
Is it playing? I can't hear the sound.
In the past couple of weeks, stalking want how that is a common thing as well. Stalking takes, and then basically you really should know better. But
you can't hear it.
We can now. It just played.
I don't know what's going on. I think StreamYard is like tripping.
I tell you what, I'll play it on my end, and Just tell me when to stop and start the videos. Hold on.
Okay,
So,
because I got great internet. I don't understand.
okay,
And
so you're playing
it's
this.
not
All
letting me
right.
mute myself. StreamYard is tripping.
Yeah, we'll work on that. There's probably something. Okay, so I'm gonna bring mine up on this end.
Okay, I'm gonna stop.
There we go. All right. Okay, I'm gonna start. Just tell me stop and start, and we'll be all good. Here we go.
I had some conversations with clients around stalking and the issues of stalking. And one of the questions that does come up quite a bit is, what does the stalker want? How can I make them go away? And when I look on the support forum, that is...
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay, you set?
Yeah, I'm gonna close out and stay in StreamYard, hopefully.
Okay, here we go.
Is a common thing as well, where the person will outline what the issue is, what form stalking takes, and then basically, what can I do to make them go away? And then lots of people who really should know better but probably don't then come in with, well, I know what you should do. If you just do this or say this or post this thing online, that will make them stop. And certainly when I was experiencing stalking myself, this was a very common reaction from other people, where everyone knew the thing that would make the stalker stop is not true. The stalker's not going to stop just because you do something, you threaten them, or somebody says some magic words or does something really clever. And that's the thing that I notice, especially amongst the therapy type people, the people who are into coaching and personal development. They always think they know the really clever thing to say. And this is a problem because actually what you're more likely to do is to encourage the stalker. Gavin de Becker, in his book, The Gift of Fear, terrible title with a terrible introduction, but otherwise an absolutely superb book. Gavin de Becker, The Gift of Fear. I highly recommend anyone who's dealing with the stalking issue get a copy of that book. He looks at a lot of stuff. Essentially what he did was, he said when people go to work for the FBI or any of the security services, they always go and study serial killers. Well, what de Becker did is he went and studied people who had survived encounters with serial killers to find out what they had in common. And he then puts together a model around what is it that those people did that other people didn't do. And that's the basis.
You can stop it, Torch.
Now, one of the things
Now, he said something that was kind of stood out to me. He said that, what can you do to make a stalker stop? And he said there's nothing you can do to say or encourage them to stop. I believe the reason why is because it is fueling them. They are excited and getting off on it. This is my perception of it. You can keep going.
He points out quite clearly is if the stalker has harassed somebody with, say, 1,000 phone calls and 2,000 emails, and then the person replies to them with the whatever the clever thing is, what the stalker's just learned is it took all those emails and all those phone calls to get a single response. So now they know the ratio, and so they're going to be more determined than ever. Now, most of the time, the stalker doesn't want an endpoint. It's not that they're doing this because they want something to happen. And so a common question that I encountered, but also I see this on the forums as well, what does the stalker want? And if we can find out what they want, satisfy that need, then they will stop. No, they won't. When the stalker basically says, do X, Y, or Z for me, and then I'll leave you alone, or if you don't do such and such, I will carry on, that's a manipulation. That's not an endpoint. The stalkers stalk because they like stalking, not because they're looking for an exit plan from the bizarre relationship they have going on inside their head. Now, and bear this in mind,
You stop it now,
the majority of what is happening.
Now, what he said was they like it. They like doing it. It's exciting to them. So once a stalker, or online stalker, locks his target, you now become his or her possession. Do you get it? So you have to take precautions and preventive measures to protect yourself at all times. Keep going.
Happening in the world of the stalker is happening inside their imagination. They have an avatar of the victim. They have a story of the victim. They're having a relationship with that party, with that part that they've got inside their head, and they're projecting that onto the victim. Meanwhile, the victim is not performing in the way they're supposed to do. So the stalker will harangue, abuse, and all the other things that they do to try and bring this victim into alignment with the correct version that they're supposed to have, which is the part they have inside their head. They don't want an exit from that. They're looking to bring alignment. Now, the problem is, if we want the person to stop and we have a fantasy, if we're the victim and we have this fantasy that the magic thing can be done, the magic thing can be said, the police officer may have the magic words, the courts may have the magic words, it's unlikely. Locking them up, yeah, that works. That gets rid of them for the duration of the time they're locked up. But of course, what are they going to be thinking about all the time they're locked up? Predominantly the sense of injustice. Because remember, the stalker doesn't think they're a stalker. Generally, they're the victim, and the victim of the stalking, they think is the protagonist. Why do they behave this way towards the victim? Because in their world, the victim deserves it. So when the victim from victim position, who as far as the stalker is concerned, deserves it, and then has a counter-action, counter-measures, or reaction towards the stalker will just take that as further evidence as to why the victim deserves the punishment or whatever it is the stalker is doing. Now, this is even going to be true for the amorous stalker, who has a weird love fixation, as far as they're concerned, for the victim. So, in theory, because they're attracted to, they admire the victim, they should be looking after them in a positive frame. But that's not what they do, of course, because when people are hurting and they're operating from the person's scorned position, then they're going to be acting in a very destructive manner. So that's quite a dangerous situation to be on the receiving end of. So we have to be very careful of how we handle those people. Now, of course, the best method, and it's the only method, unfortunately, is zero contact. No matter how persistent, how provocative, how much they poke your buttons.
Stop it, Torch. Now, zero contact in your personal life, yes, that works. Well, on YouTube, what do? You don't engage with them. You don't go back and forth in their chats. I suggest that you don't even get on their panels, because all you're doing is feuding them. That's all you're doing. Go ahead, and then we're going to listen to a little bit more, then we're going to go into the brain of a stalker. It's titled, "This is How a Stalker's Brain Works," and then you can drop the link.
Zero engagement is the best form of engagement. No response whatsoever. Because the tiniest response or hint of response from the victim towards the stalker just energizes them, and they're not going to stop. It doesn't mean if we completely ignore them, they're going to go away. They probably won't. You still have to go down the legal route and all the other things that take years in too many instances to actually find resolution. But to engage with them is then to produce a relationship that extends the relationship in the mind of the stalker. Here is one of the other things that I see quite a lot on the forums, and this is, I think, very, very common to victims. And it's the issue of them then living out publicly the outrage and the injustice of what is happening to them in a very unfair way. And they may well post vague posting on their Facebook or their social media. They may go onto the Reddit pages and post things. If you're the one stalking me, then you should stop now. Do you think you're so big and people engage in histrionic public display. That's a big mistake, of course, because that, again, is fuel.
He said something very important. Engage in histrionic public display. Man, that spoke volumes to me. But go ahead, and we're finna get into the brain of a stalker. The title is, "This is How the Stalker Brains Work." It's very disturbing. A lot of these online stalking, I think we'll have to fast forward a little bit to get to the online stuff. But a lot of these online stalkers, they believe that they're victims. They believe that because you have an opposing narrative that for some reason you become an enemy because you do not believe in the things that they believe. You have an opposing narrative, which is crazy to me. As adults, we should be able to agree to disagree. I shouldn't be. If you say something that I don't like, that doesn't agree with my beliefs, that doesn't give me the right to abuse you. That doesn't give me the right to stalk you and harass you via the internet. We just have opposing views. As adults, normal adults would just, okay, move on with their life. But these YouTube stalkers do not. Can you forward a minute?
Bringing. The behavior of a stalker can seem counterintuitive. There is reasoning behind the aggression. Aggressive behavior is the easiest
right there.
Control. Of course.
Now, 1 out of 10, that's too much. That's one too many. These people are strangers on the internet. And they want to instill fear in you to control you. If you show any fear, they win. If you show any signs of retreat, they win. Because this is how they view you as a victim. The more you are afraid of them, the more they control you. The more they try to control the narrative. The more posts they put. The more videos they upload. Keep going.
There is a new breed of stalking that makes
Wait, everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe. Here we
And I'm quite sure those tweets came from other men.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Dashlane is a great tool because for some reason we have a problem with people being doxxed. Because people are being doxxed, I don't see why it benefits anyone to dox anyone on YouTube. I suggest that you get Dashlane if you feel that you can possibly be doxxed. So, Torch, you can drop the link because I have a appointment at 6 and see if someone else can come up and help me with this commentary.
Sounds good. Link is dropped. All is welcome. Meanwhile, let's see if we can play something else.
Yeah, but this is very serious. I need you guys to take this very serious. There's a lot of threats going around on YouTube. Now, something stood out to me that Amiri Brown said. He said, take these people at face value when they say something. So if someone put out an idle threat, don't think that it's just going to be stagnant. You must be aware. What's up, J Mike?
Hey, what's good?
What you got on the topic, man?
I don't got that much about this topic. I'm just observing. But I am so glad Black femicide is getting more attention now, because I have had a person I know since childhood become a victim to their intimate partner violence. I had a friend that was.
So you don't have nothing on cyber harassment, cyber stalking, cyber bullying? You ain't got none?
Nope.
Oh man. This is the topic, J Mike. Come on, man. So what are your thoughts of what you heard so far? Let's do it. What's your opinion?
I mean, it's good. The thing was, I wasn't aware of a lot of this cyber bullying stuff when I first started doing YouTube.
Right. I wasn't
I've
aware
been on
either.
YouTube since 2007. I've been back and forth on YouTube since 2007, when YouTube was kind of still new then.
Yeah, but this is serious. There's a lot of threats going out there. These people don't even know the people that they're threatening.
Exactly. And then most of them be avatars anyway.
But we like I said, Amiri Brown always said you got to take them at face value, the things that come out their mouth. And because we have a influx of people being doxxed on YouTube, this is very serious. Because being doxxed means my personal information is put on a website. We don't know who is looking at that information. In regards to 4.6, that would increase the numbers.
I mean, it affects you when somebody you grew up with is part of that. So yeah, it's everybody's business then.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that is their weapon, doxing total strangers. I believe it's simply sociopathic, very creepy. I think they need to go sit in the corner some damn where and pray and ask. They need to go, eat some ice cream or something to get
So
happy.
I don't know what the hell.
To get happy again.
They learning this doxing shit because
I mean,
I didn't even know this was. I had no idea. We weren't even talking about this 10 years ago.
For example, you have your face on your avatar, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to assume that your name is your name.
But that's not my real name. Just
okay,
that's my
good.
face.
That's good. That's good. Protect yourself. If you have your real face on your avatars, ladies and gentlemen, please protect your privacy. It's very serious out here. We need to take this serious. Cyber harassment, cyber bullying, and cyber stalking is serious. Among 4.6, among DV, among grape, this is serious. Anybody else want to come up? Because I gotta jet up out of here. I'm sorry, guys. I can't spend a lot of time with you. But get the likes up, support the channel, support the Cash App. We appreciate it.
All right, just in case somebody has the gift of gab, we'll go ahead and close this out. And at 6 o'clock, we have an after party for those who'd like to just enjoy some cool conversation, talk. If a debate comes up, we'll do a debate. If a discussion comes up, we'll do a discussion. It's open mic.
Oh yeah, I'll be there. I just gotta drive somewhere real quick.
And I mean, is this open mic thing gonna be online? Is it gonna be in a private chat like last time?
No.
Okay.
All right. So anybody, see you in a few minutes. I'll put the link. Oh, let me go ahead and put the link to the after party in here just in case, since it's so close.
And just send it to my email, Torch. When I stop driving, I lock in.
Gotcha.
Prism still might. I mean, is Prism gonna be there? Cause she had did the last one we did, and that's how I got invited.
Well, yeah, J Mike. We'll tell you later. Just watch the link. Okay.
Okay, I appreciate everyone coming in. Stalking is serious. This is a serious live. No roast here. This is very serious. So I hope you guys took
everybody
your notes.
give Cyber Dreams a round of applause by putting a number 1 in the chat, please.
Don't judge me on my struggle streaming.